So I have some questions for our panel, and the way we're going to do this is I'm going to, pass the mic or whatever. Instead of introducing them and giving kind of their background and story up front, where you got to kind of listen to four of them up front and their background and all that, where we tend to forget it. I'm going to say that whoever speaks first or whoever wants to take the field the first question, before you answer your first time that you speak for answering a question, whether it's now or question 5 or whatever it might be, tell us your name, a little bit about your background, and just give us a minute snapshot on, or whatever you want, a minute or two snapshot on your background, how long you've been in the business, and all that kind of thing before you answer the question. And then, by the way, you have notebooks there from today. If you want a question asked of the panel members, please just come and set it up here or pass it to somebody who can run it up here. I don't know. Either way, walk it up or hand it to maybe Sandy or Matt or anybody, whatever. But hand us up the questions, and I'm sure we'll have enough time to answer them. So, all right. So, the first question is, what does it mean to you to be a real estate expert? Okay. Anybody want to volunteer? Okay. And give us a little background, Chris.
Hi, I'm Chris Adams. I've been with the company probably like 12, 13 years, something like that. I started selling real estate right away when I was 18 years old in college, and been running a team like you guys heard now for, 9 years, 10 years, something like that. Real estate's all I've ever done. So I was one of those guys, Robbie, that wanted to be one of these guys ever since I was in high school. I didn't raise my hand and tell you that earlier because you were proving a good point, but... So, that's basically me. I primarily do the list side of the business now. I've got 3 other agents on my team. Sherry would be number 4. She just got licensed as well. She's like our operations manager, so if I got hit by a bus, she could basically run the team for as long as I needed until I got out of the hospital, I guess. That's basically me in a nutshell. But as far as being an expert goes, I think the biggest thing in real estate was kind of like Robbie was saying earlier. We try to really do this on our team, where the biggest thing for us is we like to, whatever we're recommending and saying, we always have statistics to back it up when we're talking to people. So it's like we take a deep dive into our market analysis, that's there, and really make sure that we're finding properties that are similar. I think it's super important in this market right now too, because I just went on a list appointment for a small one yesterday, where the guy thought his house was worth $240 to $250 because he seen it on Redfin and Zillow. And unfortunately, I had to tell him before I left, I think your property is probably at 160 or 180, somewhere in that range. That was there. But I showed him, some statistics, and I brought some information with that showed him a property that was fixed up that just sold recently for $215, and his house was nowhere close to that condition. That was there. And, I think it's really important right now to make sure you know the numbers in the market. Taking a look at those active listings, the pending listings that are out there, just to see what's selling and what isn't selling, so you can set those right expectations for your client. Like when I was talking to him yesterday, I said, hey, if this was last year at this time, I would have been walking in here telling you maybe I can get you $200 for your property, and I'll be selling it in the very first weekend that we're on the market, assuming that we priced it right. That was there, and I said, no, I'm probably going to need a month before we sell it, and that there might be a couple price drops, included.
So you're kind of setting that expectation up front, and bringing along the data, or sending it to them, either one. But
exactly.
Bringing along the data that bolsters the point you're trying to make.
Yeah, and just like Robbie was saying too, it's important to have those tough conversations up front with people, but you have to set those right expectations so they know exactly what this process is going to look like, when you're on the market.
So I got a question for you in regard to that, setting those right expectations. In the process of somebody saying, okay, I want to set the expectations, where do you find the boldness that you need to do that? In other words, a lot of us think, hey, if I start talking about, you're not going to get much, or I bring up problems, challenges, right, that they're going to take it as meaning they're worried the client will take it as they don't really like my property, or they don't think it's worth that much, or in other words, where do you find the boldness and the confidence to bring those questions forward to your client with a straight face,
Yeah.
without feeling sheepish and all that? What happens there?
I think the biggest thing is in the numbers, honestly. Like I was mentioning, we do everything based upon statistics. And if you can show them that and explain it to them and educate them on what the market's doing and where their property fits into that mix, I think it's pretty easy to have those conversations with somebody and look them right in the eye and let them know, hey, this thing is only worth this much. And I know that's not what you wanted to hear, but that's where the market's at.
So you're kind of setting them up with the data, and then you're giving them conclusions from that.
Yes.
You're not kind of just coming out and saying, oh, I think this. You're kind of laying out a story with a logical progression.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
great.
And I think the other aspect to that too is, the further you get into this business and the more deals you have, the bigger the pipeline is. You can start getting that abundance mindset. And I've seen it with every single agent in my team. And it took me a lot of years to figure it out too, just to have those tough conversations up front with somebody. And if somebody doesn't want to do it your way and you know it's not going to sell, it's better to tell them no rather than waste
Fire
your
them
money.
right away,
Yep,
right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
Just teasing. All right, who else wants to take a stab at it? The question is, what does it mean to you to be a real estate expert?
I'll take a stab.
Okay.
My name's Eric Swanstrom, Swanee.
Your
I have-
background as well?
Background, well,
A little bit?
It's diverse. Advertising for about 10 years, 15 years of owning Fantastic Sam's hair salons here in the Twin Cities.
That's where I got my hair cut. Yeah.
Well, thank you. Looking pretty good yourself there. What are you doing later? No, I'm kidding.
We can go to the bar.
What else? Been here for right about 4 years now, actually, I think is what it's been. So don't have quite the experience that some of the folks on this panel do, but glad to be here. I think, Tim, you got all my answers to these questions coming up on the screen here for me? I'm not
All I
seeing
see
them
is
yet.
Momentum
Yeah,
Real
blank
Estate
screen.
Summit. Yeah.
Expert, wow. It's kind of a trick question in my mind. What does an expert mean? I think Chris hit it on the head, numbers and having an idea of the numbers. I think you guys know I do teach a class on running comps and so forth. So for me, that was one of my biggest obstacles when I first got into this business is how do I project that? Because I don't want to walk into any situation and not know what a house is worth. I get the question asked of me all the time. And I just tell them right on the spot, I don't like to guess. I'm too anal. Let me run the numbers for you. I think the other thing that maybe puts us in the realm of being an expert in this field is not only knowing the house from a numbers perspective, but from a physical perspective. I have a background in construction, so it's easy for me to walk into a house and let a potential buyer or maybe a seller on a listing appointment know things about the house that they need to know about. Aside of that, I think in 4 years I've learned that this business it's day to day and it's so situational. So being an expert, I think to me is also being able to answer their questions, whether you know the answer or not, being able to find answers, finding solution to hard problems that might come up. I think those are parts of being an expert.
Okay. It's interesting. It lines. What I'm taking from it, and feel free to add. But I noticed you said the word at one point, preparation, because we had kind of talked about that, preparing. You don't want to walk into a situation blind. You want to kind of know your numbers because that gives you the confidence you need. That's kind of what I took away from part of what you're saying here. Did I hear you right there? Doing that research and knowing the numbers for the house give you that confidence that you're hoping to have in front of the client?
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm not a guesser.
Yeah.
I don't even like giving ranges. That's how anal I am when it comes to putting a valuation on a home.
But that's a good answer though, because it tells them that you care and you're not flippant with your answer. So I think it's a great way to go about it, and I think it's a comment that is going to gain you respect, with the client. So, all right, either Andy or Erica, either one.
My name is Erica Kwame.
Little background.
Background.
Yeah.
Oh, extensive Lakers too. 13 years as a high school science teacher and coach. 9 years as going into my 9th year in real estate. Also ran a trucking company, owned a couple Snap Fitnesses, so we got something in common here. I started my own brokerage. I was at the MLS Online for about a year and a half, and then I just started my own brokerage. So I own Legacy Home Group Minnesota and you are my mentor, Keith. So
Well,
thank
thank
you
you.
for that.
Thank you.
So I think one of the things when we first started out is you have to be an expert in forms, because you are, these people are expecting you to know what they mean. So just number one, to be a real estate expert is to know your forms. I mean, that's huge. Spend a lot of time on that. That's what really put us at the at the top. So, and also a creative problem solver. So you have to get very, very creative and just have different options for people. So, especially right now.
Yeah. And when you talk about knowing the forms, it's like you don't want to know the forms well enough to just get something filled in the blank. You want to know what that language is meaning. I mean, that's kind of what you're getting at, right? You want to really know them well, know the clauses, be able to explain it shorthand or longhand, either one, with the client, depending on the client you're working with or whatever. But that's what you mean by, I
Yep.
mean, know all the forms, but also know the clauses really well.
Exactly.
You know, 'cause
Not
then-
just negotiating, but just knowing, what goes into an offer on
Right,
both sides.
Right,
So,
and being able to describe the documents they're about to sign, right.
yep.
Okay, Andy? Thank you, by the way.
Hello, my name is Andy McCrowan. I got my license back in 2005, so 17 years now, 16 with the MLS Online. I was previously in working for a production company, photographic wholesale, so switching from that to sales was a very different proposition for me, but it's been a fantastic transition, and I think just looking at things from maybe a different angle than many other realtors in the business look at it from, not so much from the sales side, but much more from a relationship side, has really helped me grow my business. One thing I would add to what everyone else has said up here is that as far as a real estate expert is also have a good general understanding of the other parts of the real estate transaction. So can you talk knowledgeably about mortgage, about title, about insurance? Not that you have to be specific, but especially when you're meeting somebody new for the first time, and especially first-time home buyers, they can have a lot of questions outside of just, I want to buy a home. And if you can have that general knowledge to give them that comfort that, yes, I can answer some questions about mortgage, but there are mortgage people I can direct you to. Yes, what happens at closing, that kind of thing. Just to give people a comfort level that you can be with them through the whole process, rather than I'm just going to sell you a home and then hand you off to somebody else.
Great, okay. Question number 2, what are you doing or what do you intend to do differently for your sellers when homes are on the market longer than they were 6 months or a year ago? So what do you intend to do differently now in this kind of marketplace? Anybody want to take a stab?
I'll go again.
All right, Chris.
I think the biggest thing right now, I kind of hit on it a little bit already, is just prepping them for the expectations of what the market's going to do. We really like to look at the numbers too. When you go into showing time, we like to go into the target market analysis that's in there, and we like to show them how many people are actually looking at properties. And we break that down every single week for our clients as well. Once the home is on the market, saying, "Hey, we had 4 showings that came through at this price point in your zip code, right?"
Yeah.
That's there. Sometimes we get real detailed too, and we'll even overlay like a school district on top of that, so we can say, "Hey, you know what? There was 4 showings that came through, and we actually had 3 of the 4 at this price point. So we probably captured 75% of the market. We just missed one person. Maybe it wasn't the right fit for them." That was there. But just going back to some of them things that we used to not do before, like we actually have time to do open houses now. That's there, right? One of the things we also used to do was market to renters in the neighborhood that's there. So we go into the back end of the tax records and find people that are non-homestead that are in there, and we get the right type of price point. that
What
they'd
are
be
you
renting
using to
homes.
go in the tax record? What kind of
So we use
software?
Northstar for that. Remine has actually been really easy to go get the data out of. I'd probably start with Remine, you know, if you're just going to dig in there on the first time, because it's awesome. You can like select your group of people that are non-homestead renters, pull them in like a mile, send it to 100 people or 200 people that are renting properties at that type of price point, because they already live there, right? They most
Right.
likely like it there.
Yep.
And they might be able to, you know, buy that house for less than what their rent is. So that's something that we're getting back to as well. That's there. You know, other than that, I think it's kind of just, you know, making those phone calls. We actually have time to, I mean, we have to work now to try to sell a property because, you know, 60 to 80% of the buyers are gone that were there a year ago. So just make sure that you're reverse prospecting, you know, and calling the people that have already marked it as a favorite online, stuff like that. That's about all I got.
Okay. Any of you others, what do you intend to do differently, or what are you doing or intend to do differently?
I think expectations are everything for buy side and sell side. But specifically on the sell side, I like to refer to there's 2 pages in the CMA presentation that is on our Northstar system. One is the graph where it shows activity of showings, how
Yeah.
it, like in the first week and a half, 2 weeks, but that graph was backtracked a good week
Yeah.
in the past year or so, right? So I explained to them that graph and why we don't want to overprice. We want to hit while the graph is up here.
Yep.
And then I show them the next page, which is I forget the title of it, but it shows over time what happens, how much you're getting of the current list price as time goes by. And I said, we don't want to be out here. And so I show them those graphs, and it seems to click.
Yep.
It seems to make sense about why we don't want to overprice. And also explain what's going on in the market.
Okay.
I do have a listing right now that's been on for 3 weeks. Never had one on that long before.
Okay.
So we've taken one price.
Never had one on longer than 3
Well,
weeks.
I've only
No,
been
I
in
know. I know. It's just great. I love it. Okay. Woo. Sorry, I didn't. It struck me as funny. I've
Only
never had a listing over 3
for
weeks.
4 years. That's all I've been
Yeah.
doing this.
That's great. though.
But we've, of course, taken a price reduction, and now we've added right at the top of the listing wording that says something to the effect of, don't worry about rates, seller's offering a 2-1 buy down. So
There you go. Okay.
they're motivated, yeah.
Okay. Very good. Andy, Erica? Anything you intend to do differently? You don't have to answer by every one. We can move on to the next question. If they already kind of covered it.
The only thing I was going to add, which has been like the buzzword for the whole day, is just communication. And as it's been noted, sellers have not had to wait more than a week for something to happen to their property for the last
4
3
years?
years. Yeah. And so now, as Robbie was saying, you know, a day feels like a week, and a week like a month. So be in communication with those guys every couple of days, and be prepared to have some good, solid, honest conversations. If the house has been on the market for 21 days, you know, that might be a really good time to say, okay, what are we going to do differently?
Well, especially if you've called them 5, 6, 7, 8 times in that time, saying, wait, I'm just not hearing anything. I'm not hearing anything. You're not trying to call them 2 weeks later. You know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you've been repetitive in a way that's going to help you, right? That hey, I'm here to tell you nothing's happened, or no showings or whatever, right? Okay. Yes, yeah, piggyback off it. Go ahead.
So communication, a good thing to do is to schedule or write down Monday through Friday, and there's no such thing as over communication. You can just do different forms of communication every single day. So maybe Monday you're sending them list tracks in a little email about, oh, look at the cool views and all this stuff. Tuesday you're doing a phone call. Wednesday you're doing, I'm really good at the corny videos, so I'm really big on video. So you're sending them a really corny video about, oh my gosh, did you check out Zillow? You should go look at your house on Zillow.
And what do you use to do that? So I'm clear.
just my phone, and I have a couple of different programs that I can cut
Okay.
and add video and, or
Okay,
not,
right,
not
but you're
video,
using your
but
phone
music.
to send or using BombBomb? What are you using?
I tried BombBomb, wasn't worth the money, so just
Okay.
using my phone or my CRM
Okay,
to
I'm just
send
curious,
those.
sorry, didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's
so
okay.
you do that.
And then
Yep.
maybe there's a text message with, so different forms of communication with them too. It's not just a call every time, because I don't know if, you get those clients that, you call and you're on the phone with them for an hour and a half and you're like, can't get that back. So just different forms, but over communication right now is really a key, so.
Great, okay. All right, in your opinion, meaning panel members, which segment of buyers is having the most difficulty in this market, and what kinds of things are you doing to encourage them to stay the course? Meaning, obviously, there's different segments of buyers, even though the interest rates are kind of affecting all buyers, but what are you doing to keep your buyers on course in a tough market?
Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, it seems like under that 350 price range is really tough right now. A lot of people, because of the interest rates, their purchasing power has decreased right now. So trying to, you were once looking at $350,000 homes and now you're looking at 290 or, something like that. But I guess, the facts that you stated earlier about why it is a great buyer's market, would you rather, there's a little saying, date the rate and marry the home. So what, you can always, refi and do that. I always tell my story. When I bought in 2001, I was excited. I had a 9.1% interest rate. So I got the house, secured it. It was a great investment, except I sold in 2009, but that's okay. We won't talk about that. But yeah, just explaining, would you rather pay your 100% interest rate in rent, or would you rather pay 7% in, a home? So
Right.
it's a lot better rate.
Anybody else want to field that? Working with keeping buyers on track, let's put it that way.
Yeah, I think that it's very easy to stoke the fires of fear with high interest rates and a slow market. But what I've tried to do with my clients is say, hey, let's forget about the interest rate for a second. Let's look at your down payment. And I'm talking here mainly about first-time home buyers, but let's look at your down payment and what does that translate to for a monthly mortgage payment, in today's market. Don't look at the interest rate, but does that mortgage amount fit into your budget? If it does, great. If it doesn't, then what are other options? Maybe it's not a 30-year mortgage that you're looking at. Maybe it's an adjustable rate mortgage. We talked about how early it was brought up that people are moving every 5 to 7 years, maybe. First-time home buyer, maybe even sooner. So maybe an adjustable rate mortgage does make sense right now. For the last 4 years, we've been just thinking, okay, 30-year fixed mortgage, that's great, that'll work. But now all of a sudden, there is an opportunity for mortgage people to be a lot more creative and really help, especially a first-time home buyer. I do think another segment of the market that is really struggling getting their heads around this new market is the first-time or the homeowner who's bought their first home and now wants to step up to the second.
Yep.
The fear being, of course, that, well, okay, now we're getting less for our first house. Interest rates are higher, so we are, we've got less purchasing power. So again, it comes down to let's just sit down and put these numbers on paper, and let's just deal with facts. Let's not deal with what the headlines in the newspapers are saying as far as where the market is going. Is it affordable? Is it not? And then make a plan from there.
Right, okay. Anybody else want to take that, working with buyers in a tough market like we're in?
I agree. Those two segments, in my opinion, are the ones that are having the most difficult time. What I flat out tell them with the change in the market now is, how would you like to write an offer and you're the only offer? Would you like to ask for closing costs?
How'd you like something off asking price?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let's pay below ask.
Yeah,
So I encourage them that way with all the things and offers now that we wouldn't even think about writing 8 months ago are now
everything
in play.
every problem you had then is now
Are not-
almost an advantage in a sense.
It's all in play now.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Okay, great. Okay, any,
I got just one last thing to add about that. You know, going back to the motivation of why they're even looking at buying a house or, you know, moving up to the next one is like really one of the things that we like to remind them of, you know, especially when they are, you know, hearing that rates are going up every day, but thankfully in the last 2 weeks they came down. So that's something big that we've talked about just in the last couple months here on our team. Is just making sure we remind people why they originally set out to do this.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that kind of gets them over the hurdle if they're like, oh yeah, well, we're having that extra kid. I guess we do need the extra space, so we don't care
so
what the
you're
rates
reminding them of their original driving purpose, kind of.
Yep.
You know, because they're letting some of the noise get in the way of kind of their original reason. I mean, either outgrowing the home or they need the cash or whatever the reason is. You're
Yep.
kind of driving them back to that and saying, this is still workable, even though the, you know, rates are crappy or whatever.
are. Oh, absolutely. And
Okay.
I think in the next couple months, we're going to start seeing deals that are getting done right now. Like Kelsey just knocked one out of the park on our team. Kelsey, I don't know what you got. It was like 28,000 off the price or something. Still got some
Wow.
closing costs, right? Beat them up a little bit on the inspection. So I think we're going to have some data to show buyers in the next couple months upon closed sales a much lower list of sales price that we can really show people what the market's doing as well. So
Great, okay. All right, we'll move on because time's flying here. In your real estate career, name one thing that you've done consistently in any market condition that's worked really well for lead generation. So we're going to do this a little more rapid fire. It doesn't mean you don't have 30 seconds a minute or whatever, but what's one thing you've done consistently in any market condition that's worked really well for lead generation? Fire.
well, I'll take that in two things. When I was new, I would take your leads all the time, and I built my business off of that and open houses. And now we probably do every single year, 70 to 80% of our business is all repeat and referral clients. And I think this year we've already done one customer appreciation event where we rented out the horse track and had a room for our clients to go to at Running Aces in Forest Lake. And then on Monday, we're doing at Invictus Brewing, we're doing a customer appreciation event and having the pie for that one as well, where people can just come in, have a beer, grab a pie, talk to us quick. And it's one of them things is that, you know, two-way street where we give them something. And, you know, usually within a month or two, somebody's already sent us a person or two which paid for the event completely.
Right.
So, yep.
Exactly, and that's great. You said 75 to 80% are repeat customers. That goes to what I was talking about before, and you know, you're in that upper end category without getting specific. Okay,
I'm not there yet, so I'm going to defer to the panel. Same question.
what's worked well in any market condition for lead generation?
Very quickly, get a plan to stay in touch with every client you've ever spoken with on a consistent basis. A monthly email newsletter, maybe a hard copy every quarter. On the anniversary of when they've bought a home, send them out a congratulatory letter with some comps in the neighborhood. So they, I think someone else brought that up earlier, so they can see the market value of their current home. And then on an individual basis, just try and touching base with people throughout the year. And it's an amazing thing to see the number of responses that you actually get if you do that on a regular basis.
So what does it take to transition? I want to, and we can still have you answer, Erica, but what does it take to transition from the tyranny of the immediate? In other words, I need a sale this month, and so I'm not going to do all that stuff because that's long-term stuff. I feel like as agents, sometimes we get in this constantly trying to put out the next fire or make the next sale on the quick, if you will, instead of developing the habits that it takes to develop a clientele over time. So in other words, on Monday morning, do you wake up and say, I'm going to lick some stamps and, you know, or I mean, when do you find time to work in these long-term strategies? And you can all answer that as it goes on. But
Do you want to take that?
Sure. Built up my database from zero. I had 0 clients in 2017, I think. It was around that time.
Okay.
I have 7,000 in there right now. So past clients, I'm 98% referral, and that's all based on Facebook and events. So we just finished a really cool porch planner event, and it's really not the event that matters, it's what you do beforehand to market the event. So if you want to go from 0 to 7,000 in a couple years, that will be how you do it.
You're saying you have 7,000 past clients from 20?
No.
Okay.
It's just 7,000 in our CRM.
In your
So,
CRM,
yeah.
okay. But I mean,
do-
you're still doing a big business. We don't need to get into that. But
Yeah.
okay, you're doing a very solid business. But so you keep on track with those people. Stay in touch with them. Create events, and it's all the touches leading up to the event, and it's all the touches after, and it's all that. It's not just the event.
Nope. Yeah, we
Okay.
invite the community. They invite their friends, which is really cool because so and so is going to buy in 3 months. So here I'm like, sweet. So I can talk to them right there. So it's really kind of a snowball effect. And when we first started out, we did an event a month, and it was renting out the movie theater, doing picnics. I mean, we had to get really, really creative, giving back to the teachers. So
So did you have to have that faith to do that the first 2-3 times before it paid off? Meaning, that's a big investment for most
It is.
agents.
Yep.
How much did you spend per event? A couple thousand?
Oh, no.
Thousand?
We stayed small right away, about
Okay.
500, and then lean on your vendors and your lenders and your title company because obviously, they help a lot too. So,
Okay.
yeah,
Well,
we just
that's
leaned on
great.
people. Yep.
Okay, great. All right. As you're planning for 2023, what do you intend to change, if anything, in your marketing outreach, your tools, your methods that you feel would ensure the best ROI for your time and money? So if nothing comes to mind, we can go to the next question, but what do you think you might change for 2023? What do you intend to change, if anything? And if there's nothing, we'll move on.
I hate saying this, but I did cold calling for 4 years from Realtor.com, and I plan to get back to that a little bit since I was 98% referral the last couple of years. So just to increase production. So
98% referral, that's incredible. Okay. All right. Anybody else want to answer that, or am I cutting anybody off? We good? Anything you do differently? Anything you plan to do differently in 2023? Okay. How many in-person meetings per week do you need in order to meet your goals? Yeah, like
Okay, so my business now is 100% referral. So when I get a lead, I expect to convert it because I'm already most of the way there. So to say that, how many in-person meetings, for me, it's fairly low. If I did one a week, I would very comfortably meet my goal for the year and give me enough time to play pickleball then 2 hours a day and have that family time in there somewhere as well. But that's just me. Everyone's got different goals and a different plan for their business. So,
well, if I can just comment on it, I think it's the way you're handling the clients that converts them at such a high rate. I mean, 100% of your business being, okay. Swanee or Chris, you want to field that one? How many meetings per week do you need in order to meet your goals?
1.2.
He's a stats guy.
per hour?
Based on my conversion rate and my goals for total transactions in the year, 1.2.
Okay, well, there you go. There's your answer.
It's all math. It's all
Yeah.
numbers, right?
Exactly.
You know.
Yeah, I hear you.
Points. I'm guessing you're 0.75.
I think
Who's the
that
0.2 of a person that you meet in the week?
Swanee hangs out at daycares a lot, I think.
A lot of clients come from there. Yeah.
You took that in the wrong direction, Sandy. I think the biggest thing for our team is, like, ideally we try to get 2 a week if we can. it really never ends up being that. Some weeks we have 3, sometimes we go stretches where we have none, in all honesty. And I think the biggest thing for us is, like, we usually say we got to have 5 or 6 a month about on our team.
Well, that's fair. I mean,
Yeah.
you could break that
Yeah.
out per week or per
And
month,
that'll end
whatever.
up getting us anywhere from like 18 to probably 22 deals a year per team member.
Okay.
On our team that's there. The biggest thing that we really try to talk about too is just, really diving into your networks, right? That are there. So a lot of the business that I've got over the years is just, from my hockey group of friends, whether it was in, that I played when I was younger, when I was in college playing hockey, and like, I don't know, probably
Your
60% of my deals came from my hockey group of friends.
So it's
that are
really
out there.
SOI there in that case.
Exactly, right? So we're really big on those touches, just making sure that we're, like Kelsey's in a couple mom groups. Jace has his group of hockey friends, and really just trying to, I sponsor my men's league hockey team.
Yeah.
That's there. So and then it's like, hey, you know what? We bought new jerseys for the team, and then if somebody's going to buy a house, and I've sold houses to 80% of my team, so it's like they kind of have no other option besides me at that point in time. Otherwise, they're probably not going to be on the team next year.
But it's another investment.
Yes.
I mean, the investment was made, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So.
I'm going to move it on here to, as a listing agent, how do you differentiate yourself with potential sellers? What's your unique value proposition? Again, we'll try to keep it short because we only got about 3 more minutes that I want to go, and I got a couple more questions. So how do you differentiate yourself as a listing agent, so to speak?
I think the biggest thing that we try to do is just educate our clients and let them know that we're really experts based upon the way that we handle our business through our professional photography, through the professional videos that we do. And we show them how we actually, just take a video and actually, we've been running YouTube's ads lately. We got super lucky with one, had like 36,000 views on it. It was awesome. That was there. And on YouTube, it's 30 seconds. You have to watch time in order to have a view on it. So we did really well with that. So it's just trying to learn the new things. And, I think, that, the biggest thing for us too is like, when you take a look at our average in the Twin Cities right now, it's still high from last year, but you take a look at the 12-month average from list price to sales price, which is sitting at 101.9%. And then we walk into a listing and say, hey, our average list price to sales price is sitting at 103.4%. So if this is a $400,000 property, at the end of the day, I'm going to be making you, $6,000 more than the average agent in our market right now. And that's why you should work with us, right? That's there. And if we do know our competition going into it beforehand, like if they mention some discount broker or something like that to us, we look up their stats and we can show them and say, hey, you can work with them, but look what they've got from their original list price to sales price that's there. And sometimes, like Kelsey had one earlier this year, it was like a 6 or 7% swing. That was there. So on a $400,000 property, you're missing out on an awful lot of money if you want to go with that discount broker, right?
Right.
So, yeah, it's
They're
one of the
making
big
money
things that
by
we do.
going with you. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
Fair enough. Swan Man?
One of the things that Chris said, we talk about what we offer as a brokerage, right? We talk about how our stay rate on our website by consumers is 8 minutes plus. It's the best in the industry. Our Insights for Sellers program, show that in a listing presentation, you'll probably get the listing for sure. Insights for Sellers. If you don't know what it is, find it, figure it out. It's on our website. Show them how it works. But a question that I get often asked in a listing presentation to answer your question is, let's say they're interviewing a couple agents and the other agent is from the city that their house is in. Well, I tell them the days of having the Plymouth expert are really over, right? Let's be honest. It doesn't matter anymore because all the information is out there for everyone to see. So I tell them the most important thing that you can have in an agent is the ability to analyze a home both mentally, numbers, right, and physically. I can go into any location in any market and do these things for you or anybody else.
Great.
I would say that for me, just stressing the personal relationship that I will have with those clients. I really stress the fact that if the client ever picks up the phone to call, it's going to be me that they're going to be talking to. I'm going to be showing them the home, or I'm going to be coming out to their listing. I'm going to be there at the inspection. I'm going to be there at the closing. And so they're going to work with me throughout the whole process. And
You're not phoning it in, I mean,
no, I'm not handing them off to
Yeah.
a buying agent or
Yeah.
a listing agent, or once the deal is done, you go to a transaction coordinator. It's going to be me the whole way. And again, back to that whole thing about communication, as I've been doing real estate for 17 years, the one complaint that I hear over and over again is the last guy never called me. And so that's
Okay.
what I stress.
Okay. Interesting. Number one complaint nationally, okay. Communication, all right. Erica?
We really push on our vendors a lot, so we offer some services, maybe like pre-list, like, hey, we're gonna come through and make sure your home's ready for FHA, VA financing. So we're gonna have a guy come out, take a look at the basic stuff. If it's not done, this is free of charge, but we wanna make sure that your property is available for everyone to purchase. And then I think the number one thing that you can do as a listing agent is go shadow an appraiser. Yes, take them out to dinner. When they call and they're like, hey, what did this house, what did this, oh, you know what? I'll tell you, but you have to let me shadow you too. So it's amazing just the differences in just the different appraisers in the area. So when you tell your clients that you shadow appraisers, that's huge because, obviously there's not a ton of cash buyers out there, but puts you ahead.
Becoming the expert, again, that's
Yep,
what it's the
yep.
same theme, right?
Exactly.
Okay, let's see here. What were the two top challenges you faced to get where you are today? And we'll just do one because of lack of time. What was your biggest challenge to get where you are today? What did you have to overcome?
I'll just pass that one on.
Okay.
Short answers if we can.
Mine was talking to clients over the phone.
Meaning you had to get good at it, you mean?
I had to be brave enough to make the calls, first of all.
Okay.
And, I'm much better in person than I am over the phone. That may be hard to believe as you hear me today, but it was, being on the phone was tough, is still tough for me.
Okay, interesting. I would never know that.
I alluded to it earlier, but I'll stem off of what Erica just said. The biggest challenge was, how do I define how much a house is worth?
Okay,
So I talked to appraisers, studied appraisals. Yeah.
okay. Chris, short answer on that one? Your biggest single challenge?
I think the biggest thing for me, was just trying to figure out how to get some of my time back eventually. In 1 year, I did 37 deals, by myself, and I was in the process of hiring Sherry, so I wish I would have hired her earlier.
Okay. I'm going to take another minute here. What do you believe your two top challenges are to double your business over the next 2 years, besides the market getting better? Again, short as you can keep your answers. What would be your top challenge or your top thing to do to double your business, if you could?
I think the biggest thing right now that we just started doing again was working canceled and expired listings. We started watching these things basically since June, where the numbers just kept
Keep
creeping
climbing?
up and up and up.
So
So
it's
that's
a growing opportunity. Okay. Double your business. What would it take?
It'll take me, the biggest challenge will be to do one of the 3 C's, communication, not with my general communication, but my communication
Regimen.
to my PC and SOI, past clients and spheres of influence.
Great. Okay, Andy?
Yeah, definitely past clients and sphere of influence, just jumping on that more and more and more.
Okay, Erica?
I think just the daily tasks that I have to do, looking back to see what's my money-making activities and just sticking to those and making sure by the end of the week, 85% of them, I've done it, to the best of my ability. So writing that list and keeping a scorecard and tracking it. So accountability.
Wonderful. Can we give it up for the panel members, please? All right.